You know what happens to most people when they're standing at a crossroads in their life? They freeze. They stop moving altogether because they're waiting for some cosmic sign, some burning bush moment, some voice from the heavens telling them exactly which way to turn. And while they're waiting, life is passing them by. Every single moment they spend in confusion is a moment they could be spending in creation, in movement, in the flow of living itself. Let me tell you something that might shock you. The confusion you feel, that uncertainty about what you're supposed to do, that fog that seems to cloud your vision when you're trying to figure out your purpose, that's not a problem. That's not God abandoning you or the universe playing tricks on you. That confusion is actually an invitation. It's an invitation to trust something far greater than your limited understanding of how things should unfold. You see, we've been conditioned to believe that clarity comes before action. We think we need to have it all figured out before we take the first step. We want the entire blueprint laid out in front of us before we're willing to move forward. But that's not how life works. That's not how divine guidance works. That's not how your highest self communicates with you. The clarity comes through the action, not before it. Think about it for a moment. When you were learning to walk as a child, you didn't have a clear understanding of balance, momentum, or the mechanics of putting one foot in front of the other. You just felt this impulse to stand, to move, to go somewhere. And you fell. You fell dozens of times, hundreds of times. But each fall taught you something. Each wobble gave you information. The clarity about how to walk came from walking, not from sitting and analyzing the process. The same principle applies to every single area of your life right now. You don't need to know the entire path. You don't need to understand every reason why things are happening the way they're happening. You need to take the next step that feels right in this moment. Just the next step, not the step after that, not the final destination, just the one small action that your heart is calling you toward right now. But here's where most people get stuck. They say, but what if I make the wrong choice? What if I go down the wrong path? What if I waste my time or my resources or my energy on something that isn't meant for me? And that question, that fear, keeps them paralyzed. It keeps them stuck in the same place, year after year, wondering why their life isn't changing, wondering why they feel so disconnected from their purpose. Let me share something with you that will change everything if you really let it sink in. There are no wrong paths. There are no mistakes in the grand scheme of your evolution. Every single experience you have, every choice you make, every direction you turn is giving you information. It's teaching you something. It's showing you who you are, what you value, what brings you alive, and what drains your energy. Even the paths that lead you away from your purpose are actually leading you toward it because they're showing you what doesn't work. They're eliminating options. They're clarifying your vision through contrast. You cannot mess up your life. You truly cannot. The only way you can mess up is by not living at all, by staying frozen in fear, by refusing to make any choice because you're terrified of making the wrong one. That's the only real mistake. The only real tragedy is a life unlived, a song unsung, a gift unopened and unused because the person carrying it was too afraid to trust themselves. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, but I've prayed about this, I've meditated on it, I've asked for guidance, and I'm still not getting any clear answers. Why isn't God showing me what to do? And that's a legitimate question. It's a question that millions of people ask themselves every single day. Here's what I've come to understand through my own experience and through working with thousands of people over the years. The divine, God, the universe, whatever name you want to give to that higher intelligence that flows through all things, it doesn't communicate the way we expect it to. We're waiting for words, for signs, for lightning bolts, for clear, unmistakable directions. But that's not usually how it works. The divine speaks through your feelings, through your intuition, through those quiet moments of knowing that arise when you stop thinking and start sensing. It speaks through the things that excite you, the activities that make you lose track of time, the people who energize you, the ideas that won't leave you alone no matter how hard you try to ignore them. It speaks through your body, through sensations of expansion and contraction, through feelings of lightness and heaviness. When you're on the right path, you feel it. Not necessarily as happiness or ease, but as rightness, as alignment, as a sense of flow, even when things are difficult. When you're off the path, you feel that too. You feel resistance, disconnection, a sense of swimming against the current. But you have to be paying attention. You have to be tuned in to those subtle signals instead of drowning them out with constant mental chatter and second guessing. The problem is that most of us are living in our heads, not in our hearts. We're trying to figure everything out intellectually. We're making lists of pros and cons. analyzing every possibility, trying to predict every outcome. And all of that mental activity actually blocks the very guidance we're seeking. It's like trying to hear a whisper in the middle of a loud party. The signal is there, but we can't hear it over all the noise we're making in our own minds. So what do you do when God's will isn't clear? You get quiet. You create space. You stop forcing and start allowing. You stop demanding answers and start listening for whispers. You meditate. You spend time in nature. You do things that calm your nervous system and quiet your thinking mind. And in that quietness, in that stillness, something begins to emerge. Not always as a clear directive, but as a subtle pull, a gentle nudge, a feeling that says, go this way, try this, talk to that person, read that book, take that class. And here's the key. You follow those nudges without needing to know why. You trust them. You act on them, even when they don't make logical sense, even when you can't see how they connect to your bigger goals. Because the divine works in ways that are far more intelligent and far more efficient than our limited human understanding can grasp. You might get a feeling that you should call an old friend, and it seems random, it seems pointless, but you do it anyway. And that conversation leads to an introduction, and that introduction leads to an opportunity, and that opportunity completely changes the trajectory of your life. But if you had needed to understand the entire chain of events before making that phone call, you never would have made it. You would have dismissed the impulse as irrelevant. This is what living by faith really means. It doesn't mean believing in some religious doctrine or repeating affirmations that you don't really feel. It means trusting the intelligence that's moving through you, even when you can't see the whole picture. It means acting on your inner guidance, even when it doesn't make sense to your rational mind. It means being willing to look foolish, to be misunderstood, to take risks based on nothing more than a feeling. And yes, sometimes you'll follow a feeling and it won't lead where you thought it would. Sometimes you'll take action based on your intuition and the results will surprise you or even disappoint you. But I'm telling you, even those experiences are part of the plan. Even those apparent detours are actually part of the most efficient route to where you're meant to be. You just can't see it yet because you're too close to it. You're in the middle of the painting, trying to understand what the whole thing looks like. But from a higher perspective, it all makes perfect sense. Let me tell you about something I call the curriculum. Every single one of us is enrolled in a curriculum that is perfectly designed for our growth, our evolution, our awakening. We don't choose this curriculum consciously. We don't sit down and plan out all the lessons we need to learn. But somehow, mysteriously, we attract exactly the experiences, the relationships, the challenges, the opportunities that we need in order to become who we're meant to become. When you understand this, when you really get it, everything changes. You stop fighting against your life. You stop resisting what is. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start asking, what is this here to teach me? What am I supposed to learn from this? How is this serving my highest good, even though I can't see it right now? This doesn't mean you become passive. It doesn't mean you stop setting goals or taking action or trying to create the life you want. It means you hold it all lightly. It means you do your best. You move in the direction that feels right, and then you trust the process. You trust that even when things don't turn out the way you planned, even when doors close in your face, even when you face rejection or failure or disappointment, it's all part of the curriculum. It's all leading you somewhere important. You know what one of the biggest obstacles to clarity is? Attachment. We get so attached to specific outcomes, to particular visions of how our life should look, that we miss the opportunities that are actually presenting themselves. We're so busy looking for one thing that we completely overlook the gift that's right in front of us. Maybe you're praying for a specific job, and you don't get it, and you think God isn't listening, you think you're not being guided, you think you've been abandoned. But what if that job would have kept you stuck? What if it would have prevented you from meeting someone important or developing a skill you need or being available for an even better opportunity that's coming 6 months from now? What if the closed door is actually protection, not rejection? This is where trust comes in. This is where faith becomes practical instead of theoretical. You have to trust that life is happening for you, not to you. You have to trust that there's an intelligence at work that can see the entire chessboard while you can only see a few squares. You have to trust that what you want might not be what you need, and what you need will always find its way to you at exactly the right time. And I'm not talking about some naive Pollyanna kind of thinking where you pretend everything is perfect when it's not. I'm talking about a mature, wise understanding that difficulty and challenge are not signs of being off track. They're signs of growth. They're signs that you're being stretched, that you're being prepared for something bigger, that you're being refined and strengthened for the next level of your life. Think about a seed buried in the ground. If that seed could think, it would probably be terrified. It's in the dark. It's being pressed on from all sides. It's breaking apart. From its perspective, it might seem like it's dying, like everything is going wrong. But we know that what's actually happening is that it's germinating, it's preparing to sprout. All that pressure, all that darkness, all that breaking apart, it's necessary. It's part of the process of becoming a plant. You are that seed right now. Maybe you're in a dark place. Maybe you feel pressure from every direction. Maybe it feels like parts of you are breaking apart. But what if you're not falling apart? What if you're falling together in a new way? What if this confusion, this uncertainty, this lack of clarity about what's next, what if it's actually the darkness before the dawn? What if it's the necessary stage before your breakthrough? Here's something else I want you to consider. Sometimes God's will isn't clear because you're asking the wrong question. You're asking, what should I do? What's my purpose? What's the right path? But those questions are focused on doing, on accomplishing, on achieving some external result. And while there's nothing wrong with wanting to contribute and create and accomplish things, that's not where true fulfillment comes from. The better question is, who do I want to be? How do I want to show up in the world? What kind of person do I want to become? Because when you focus on being rather than doing, everything shifts. You stop waiting for perfect circumstances. You stop needing to know the whole plan. You can start living according to your values right now, today, in this moment. You want to be loving? Be loving right now to the people in front of you. You want to be creative? Create something today, even if it's small. You want to be generous? Find a way to give, even if it's just your attention or your kindness. You want to be courageous? Do one thing today that scares you. You don't need clarity about your entire life purpose to start being the person you're meant to be. You can do that right now. And here's the beautiful thing. When you focus on who you're being, the doing takes care of itself. When you show up as your authentic self, when you operate from your highest values, when you let your inner light shine, opportunities come to you. The right people appear, the right doors open, not because you forced it or figured it all out, but because you became a vibrational match for what you desire. You became the person who naturally attracts those experiences. This is what it means to let go and let God, to surrender to the divine will. It doesn't mean you become passive or irresponsible. It means you do your part, you take inspired action, you follow your inner guidance, and then you release your attachment to how it all turns out. You trust that there's a bigger plan, a higher intelligence, a loving force that's orchestrating things in ways that benefit everyone involved, including you. Now, some of you might be thinking, but what about free will? If there's a divine plan, do I even have a choice? And that's a beautiful paradox, isn't it? The truth is, you have complete free will, and you're also part of a divine plan. How can both be true? Because the divine plan isn't about controlling you or forcing you into some predetermined path. The divine plan is about your growth, your evolution, your awakening. And that can happen through infinite different paths. You're like a river flowing toward the ocean. There are countless routes you can take. You can wind through mountains or valleys, through forests or deserts. You can flow fast or slow, smooth or turbulent. But eventually, one way or another, you're going to reach that ocean. That's inevitable. That's the divine plan. Your ultimate destination is to remember who you really are, to awaken to your true nature, to realize your connection to everything and everyone. How you get there, that's up to you. That's your free will. So when you're confused about which path to take, when God's will isn't clear, remember that both paths might lead to the same place. Both choices might serve your highest good in different ways. The universe is saying, you choose. Trust yourself. I'll work with whatever you choose. I'll use it all for your benefit. That's the level of trust we're invited to live in. That's the freedom we're being offered. But freedom is scary, isn't it? We say we want freedom, but what we really want is certainty. We want someone to tell us what to do so we don't have to take responsibility for our choices. We want a guru or a book or a sign from the heavens to make decisions for us. Because then, if it doesn't work out, we can blame something outside ourselves. We can say, I was just following the guidance. I was just doing what I was told. But that's not how you grow. That's not how you mature spiritually. You grow by making choices, by taking responsibility, by trusting yourself, even when you're uncertain. You grow by being willing to be wrong, to change course, to learn from your experiences. You grow by stepping into the unknown with nothing but faith as your guide. And faith, real faith, isn't about being certain. It's about being willing to move forward even when you're not certain. It's about trusting that you're supported even when you can't see the support. It's about knowing that you're loved even when you feel alone. It's about believing in your worthiness even when you've made mistakes. That's faith. That's the kind of trust that transforms your life. So what do you do today, right now, when you're sitting with this confusion, this uncertainty, this lack of clarity about what comes next? You breathe. You come back to the present moment. You stop projecting into the future and trying to figure out how everything is going to work out. You stop ruminating about the past and wondering if you made wrong choices. You come right here, right now, to this breath, this moment, this heartbeat. And in this moment, you ask yourself, what would love do? What would the highest version of myself do right now? Not 5 years from now, not when you have more money or more time or more clarity. Right now, what's the most loving action you can take today? Maybe it's having a difficult conversation. Maybe it's applying for a job. Maybe it's ending a relationship that's not serving you. Maybe it's starting a creative project. Maybe it's asking for help. Maybe it's forgiving someone. Maybe it's forgiving yourself. You don't need to know how it all connects to your grand purpose. You don't need to see the big picture. You just need to do the next right thing, and then the next, and then the next. And somehow, mysteriously, beautifully, those small choices add up. Those tiny steps create a path. And one day you look back and you see that you've traveled miles, that you've climbed mountains, that you've become someone you didn't even know you could be. And it all happened one choice at a time, one step at a time, one moment at a time. This is what it means to live in alignment with divine will. It's not some mystical, complicated process. It's actually very simple. It's about being present, being authentic, being loving, and being willing to follow the guidance that arises from within you. It's about trusting the process even when you can't control the outcome. It's about showing up fully for your life instead of sitting on the sidelines waiting for perfect clarity that may never come. You know what kills more dreams than failure ever could? Waiting for the perfect time, waiting for perfect conditions, waiting for perfect clarity, waiting for permission, waiting for someone else to go first, waiting to feel ready. People spend their entire lives waiting, and then they wonder why they feel so unfulfilled, why they feel like they missed out on something important. Don't wait. You're ready now. You might not feel ready, but you are. You have everything you need for the next step. You might not have everything you need for step 50 or step 100, but you have what you need for step 1. And that's all you need. Because step 2 will reveal itself after you take step 1. Step 3 will become clear after step 2. But none of them can reveal themselves while you're standing still. I want you to think about something. Every single person you admire, every single person who has accomplished something meaningful, every single person who has created something beautiful or important or impactful, they all had to move forward without perfect clarity. They all had moments of doubt. They all faced uncertainty. They all had to take risks. The only difference between them and everyone else is that they did it anyway. They moved forward anyway. They trusted themselves anyway. That entrepreneur who built that company you admire, they started without knowing if it would work. That artist whose work moves you, they created even when they weren't sure if anyone would care. That teacher who changed lives, they showed up every day even when they couldn't see the impact they were having. That parent who raised amazing kids, they made it up as they went along, doing their best with the knowledge they had. None of them had perfect clarity. None of them had all the answers. They just had commitment, faith, and a willingness to keep going. You have that too. You have that commitment inside you. You have that faith, even if it feels small right now. You have that willingness to keep going, even when you can't see the path ahead. Those qualities are already within you. They're not something you need to develop or acquire or earn. They're part of your essential nature. They're part of being human. And here's what I really want you to understand. You are not separate from God. You are not separate from the divine intelligence that creates galaxies and grows trees and heals wounds. That same intelligence is flowing through you right now. It's beating your heart without you having to think about it. It's breathing you while you sleep. It's digesting your food and growing your hair and fighting off infections and doing 10,000 things every moment to keep you alive and functioning. If you can trust that intelligence to run your body, which is infinitely complex, why can't you trust it to guide your life? Why can't you trust that the same wisdom that knows how to create a human being from 2 cells knows how to guide you toward your purpose? It does. It is. Right now. in every moment, through your intuition, through your desires, through your interests, through your circumstances, through the people who come into your life, through the opportunities that present themselves. The guidance is always there, always. It never stops, it never abandons you. The question is not whether the guidance is available. The question is whether you're listening, whether you're paying attention, whether you're trusting what you hear, and sometimes what you hear is, wait, be patient. This isn't the right time yet. And that's okay too. Sometimes the guidance is to not move, to not act, to allow things to unfold naturally. But even that's different from being frozen in fear. When you're truly being guided to wait, there's peace in it. There's a sense of rightness about it. You're not anxious or frustrated. You're simply resting, trusting, preparing. But when you're frozen in fear, there's no peace. There's agitation, worry, doubt, self-criticism. You're not peacefully waiting. You're anxiously avoiding. And you can feel the difference if you're honest with yourself. Your body knows. Your heart knows. That tight feeling in your chest, that knot in your stomach, that's not divine guidance telling you to wait. That's fear trying to keep you safe by keeping you small. True divine guidance feels like expansion, even when it's scary. It feels like yes, even when it's uncertain. It feels like life, like energy, like movement. Fear feels like contraction, like no, like shutdown, like death. Learn to distinguish between them. Learn to recognize the difference in your body, in your energy, in your overall sense of well-being. And when you recognize that you're stuck in fear rather than genuinely being guided to wait, have compassion for yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Don't call yourself weak or stupid or broken. Fear is natural. It's part of being human. It's your nervous system trying to protect you. Thank it for trying to keep you safe, and then gently, lovingly, courageously move forward anyway. Every time you act despite your fear, you build your faith muscle. Every time you trust yourself when you're uncertain, you strengthen your connection to your inner guidance. Every time you choose love over fear, expansion over contraction, possibility over limitation, you become more of who you really are. And who you really are is unlimited, powerful, creative, loving, wise, and eternally connected to the source of all life. You are not a separate, isolated individual trying to figure out this confusing world all by yourself. You are an expression of the divine. You are the universe experiencing itself through your unique perspective. You are God in human form, playing the game of forgetting and remembering, hiding and seeking, losing yourself and finding yourself over and over again. And right now, in this moment of confusion, in this space of not knowing, you're in one of the most powerful places you can be. Because when you don't know, when you can't figure it out with your mind, when all your usual strategies and patterns aren't working, that's when you're most open to real guidance. That's when you're most available to genuine transformation. That's when you're most likely to make a quantum leap in your growth and evolution. So don't rush out of this space. Don't try to force clarity before it's time. Don't manufacture certainty because uncertainty makes you uncomfortable. Sit with it. Breathe with it. Let it teach you something. Let it show you that you're stronger than you thought, that you can tolerate not knowing, that your worth isn't dependent on having all the answers or being in control or never making mistakes. This is where wisdom is born, in this space of not knowing. This is where humility develops. This is where you learn to surrender, to trust, to have faith in something greater than your limited ego mind. This is sacred ground you're standing on right now, even though it doesn't feel like it. This confusion, this uncertainty, it's not a problem to solve, it's a portal to walk through. And on the other side of this portal is a version of you that's more authentic, more aligned, more at peace, more powerful than you've ever been before. But you can't skip the portal. You can't go around it. You have to walk through it. You have to be willing to not know for a while. You have to be willing to let go of control and certainty and clear plans. You have to be willing to trust the process, even when the process is uncomfortable and confusing and doesn't make logical sense. This is the spiritual path. Not some blissed out, always happy, perpetually certain state where everything is easy and clear and perfect. That's a fantasy. That's spiritual bypassing. The real path involves darkness and confusion and uncertainty and struggle. It involves getting lost so you can learn how to find yourself. It involves breaking down so you can break through. It involves dying to who you were so you can be born into who you're becoming. And right now you're in that process. You might feel like you're falling apart. You might feel like nothing makes sense anymore. You might feel like the ground is shifting beneath your feet and you don't know what to hold on to. Good. That's good. That means you're growing. That means you're evolving. That means you're not settling for the comfortable, familiar, safe version of yourself in your life. You're willing to risk, to change, to expand into something more. So when you ask, why isn't God's will clear? Maybe the answer is that it is clear. It's just not clear in the way you expect. It's not coming as a voice from the sky or words written in the clouds. It's coming as a feeling, as a pull, as an inexplicable desire that won't leave you alone. It's coming as doors that close and doors that open. It's coming as people who enter your life and people who leave. It's coming as challenges that force you to grow and opportunities that invite you to expand. It's all guidance. It's all divine will. You're swimming in it. You're breathing it. You're living it right now. The only question is whether you're going to trust it, whether you're going to cooperate with it, whether you're going to surrender to it and let it carry you where you need to go. And I know that sounds scary. Surrender sounds like giving up, like losing control, like becoming passive. But it's not. True surrender is the most powerful thing you can do. It's saying, I'm going to do my absolute best. I'm going to show up fully. I'm going to take action. I'm going to follow my guidance, and then I'm going to let go of the outcome. I'm going to trust that whatever happens is exactly what's supposed to happen. I'm going to trust that I'm being led even when I can't see the destination. That kind of surrender doesn't make you weak. It makes you unstoppable because you're no longer afraid of failure. You're no longer attached to specific outcomes. You're no longer dependent on external validation or circumstances being a certain way for you to be okay. You're free. You're powerful. You're aligned with the flow of life itself. This is what it means to live from your highest self. This is what it means to be in divine will, even when it's not clear. You show up. You do your best. You follow your heart. You trust the process. You learn from everything. You grow through everything. You use it all as fuel for your awakening. And someday, maybe years from now, you'll look back at this time of confusion and uncertainty, and you'll see it completely differently. You'll see that it wasn't random. You'll see that it wasn't a waste. You'll see that every single thing that happened, every choice you made, every person you met, every challenge you faced, it was all perfectly orchestrated to bring you to exactly where you needed to be. You'll see the divine hand in all of it. You'll see the love that was guiding you even when you felt lost. But you can't see that now. You can only see it from the future looking back. Right now, you have to walk forward in faith. You have to trust without proof. You have to believe without seeing. That's your task. That's your work. Not to figure it all out, but to trust anyway. Not to know for certain, but to move forward anyway. Not to have perfect clarity, but to take the next step anyway. You can do this. You are doing this. Right now, by being here, by seeking guidance, by being willing to grow, by not giving up even though it's hard, you're doing it. You're walking the path. You're answering the call. You're living your purpose, even if you can't see it yet. Your purpose isn't something you find. It's something you live, moment by moment, choice by choice, breath by breath. And you're living it right now. By being authentic, by being willing to grow, by choosing love over fear, by showing up for your life, even when it's uncertain. That's your purpose. That's everyone's purpose. To be fully alive, fully present, fully yourself. Everything else, all the specific details about career and relationships and accomplishments and goals, that's just the form your purpose takes. But the essence is always the same. To love, to grow, to serve, to create, to wake up to who you really are. You're doing that right now, in this moment, by being willing to sit with uncertainty instead of running from it, by being willing to trust instead of control, by being willing to surrender instead of fight. This is holy work you're doing. This is sacred. This is what you came here for. Not to have a perfect life where everything is clear and easy and comfortable, but to grow through challenge, to find faith in uncertainty, to discover your strength in vulnerability, to learn that you're so much more than you thought you were. You are eternal. You are infinite. You are divine. You are loved beyond measure. You are guided in every moment. You are never alone. You are always enough. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Trust that. Live from that. Let that be your foundation even when everything else is shifting and changing and unclear. When God's will isn't clear, it's not because God is withholding it from you. It's because you're being invited to trust at a level you haven't trusted before. You're being invited to surrender at a depth you haven't surrendered before. You're being invited to have faith when everything in you wants certainty. This is your initiation. This is your test. Not a test to see if you're worthy, you already are, but a test to help you realize how strong and capable and powerful you truly are. You will get through this. You will find your way, not because you figured it all out, but because you kept moving forward. Not because you had perfect clarity, but because you trusted the clarity you had, even when it was just enough light for the next step. That's all you ever need, one step worth of light, and then another, and then another. And before you know it, you've walked through the darkness and you're standing in the sun again, and you're not the same person who entered the darkness. You're stronger, you're wiser, you're more faithful, you're more yourself. So keep going, keep trusting, keep showing up, keep following your heart, keep listening to that still small voice within you, keep choosing love, keep being willing to grow, keep surrendering to the process, keep having faith even when you can't see the evidence. Keep knowing that you're supported, you're guided, you're loved, and you're exactly where you need to be for your highest good and the highest good of all. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your life. Don't wait for perfect clarity. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait for permission or validation or approval. You have everything you need right now to take the next step, so take it. Trust yourself, trust life. Trust the divine intelligence that's flowing through you in every moment. It knows the way. It's been guiding you all along. It will continue to guide you. You just have to listen, trust, and act. That's all. That's everything. That's enough.